Call the meeting to order. The regular planning commission meeting, September 18th. All rise.
She knows I'm crazy. Sorry, guys.
Ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Belkey. Here. Henderson here. Shaw.
Here.
Brand.
Here.
Petty Jacek.
Here.
Patterson.
Here. Woo, finally. Okay, so we'll start with the agenda. Anybody have anything you need to add or questions to the agenda? Otherwise, we're looking for a motion.
Okay, so how's the motion go? Continue?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I make a motion to approve the agenda and present it.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And approval of the meeting minutes for August 21st meeting. Everybody have a chance to look those over, any questions, corrections, anything? Otherwise, once again, we're looking for a motion.
If no one's gonna say anything, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of August 21st, 2023 as presented.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain for absence. Motion carries. Any public comment? From here, we're gonna move on to the sketch plan application for 22944 Main Street, Amberley's Designs. I'm guessing you are Amber.
I am.
Would you like to stand up and give us a little intro to what we're looking at here?
Of course. My name is Amber Voigt. I'm a resident of Armada. I'm looking to open a florist in the village. I have almost 30 years of experience in all facets of running a florist. I have a bachelor's degree in business. I worked in business and retail, so I have experience in sales, purchasing, accounting, floral designing, and wedding and event coordinating. I've recently leased a space in the building, so the door to that unit is 22944, but I believe that the whole building is 22940. It consists of 3 other units. I provided a picture of the building and I circled around the unit that I would be renting.
It did not.
come through.
You know,
But it's on the door, like you said, isn't there blinds on that building, that particular,
yeah,
that is white?
So you right next to the barber? Or?
yeah, exactly,
right next
right
to it.
above, right where the
where
blank
the
sign
sign
is.
Yeah.
That's
So
exactly
where-
where it's at.
The fourth door from the right, or from the left?
Yes.
Okay.
So there are 6 parking spots that all the units share for that building. I will be receiving deliveries from time to time if it's approved, probably once a week. Most of the time I would probably be having things delivered to my house since there's limited space in the parking lot. The companies that I'd be using is UPS, Amazon, FedEx. They're all larger vans. I don't see any shipments by freight coming in, so no larger trucks. The store would consist of giftware, gift baskets, flowers. I plan to have product for fruit and gourmet baskets, general merchandise, etc. I have ordered a large sign to go in that spot where there's the empty space,
The blank sign.
board, yep. So it's 10 feet long by 3 feet tall, which I have a example of what it would look like as well. I'm not sure if you want to see that.
Sure.
Yeah,
You had your coolers already?
I do, yeah.
Did you
they're-
have a florist before? Or-
No, I've just worked in florists.
Oh,
Yeah, but I haven't actually owned one. I have 3 coolers. One of them is 6 foot, one's 4 foot, and one is 2 foot. They are display coolers, so the doors slide, on the two larger ones, and then the smaller one, it opens.
It's a vinyl sign, did you say?
It is a vinyl sign, yeah. So if approved, I would place product out in front of the store on the sidewalk, which I know there's not a lot of space, so it would be very minimal. It wouldn't take up a lot of space. There would still be room to walk through. And the product that would be outside would be dependent on what season. So fall, mums, pumpkins, hay, things like that. I don't expect to have a significant amount of trash, just, especially in the beginning. So if it is allowed, then I would just probably take whatever home, and if it gets to be too much at any point in time, I can call for weekly service. So.
Is there a spot in the back for the dumpster?
No, there's no space for a dumpster. It's just, yeah, so the space in the back is just Vinkers. It's Vinkers area. So there's no other spots up front.
There
for a
are behind there,
dumpster.
is it just like a little sidewalk?
No, I don't think
Nothing.
that there's anything. I think it's just
Nothing.
grass.
Yeah. Drops off.
Right.
Yeah.
Forgive that one.
So, are you all done?
Yes.
I had a question. So I noticed your hours, so there really isn't a need for it, but is the sign gonna be illuminated?
It wasn't my plan. There is a light in the parking lot that kind of shines over that way, so I wasn't planning on putting one in to illuminate it, or, this sign is kind of temporary. I feel like once, things get up and running, a more permanent sign, not a vinyl sign, but more of like a fixture
Okay.
to be on the building, and that could potentially illuminate. But there is a light, I don't think I mentioned, there's a light outside the door as well, so, and I might possibly add like rope lights in the awning before walking in, so that way it illuminates a little bit better, when it gets darker. My hours are subject to change. I just don't know right now. So I plan on, I think I had 8 to 5. Monday through
8 to
Friday,
4, 8 to 1.
Yeah, so it would definitely fluctuate depending on when the customers, want to come in and shop or call. So if it's busier later in the day, let's say 5 or 6, then obviously I would shift my hours, probably like 9 to 6 or something. So, just depended on that.
Sure.
When you decide, or if you decide to change your sign, you'll have to come to the village office and do it with a building permit then.
Okay,
So, once you change the sign. Okay.
okay.
Well, I think it's about time we have a florist in town.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
there used to have 2 at one time.
Right. Anybody got anything else?
I have nothing else.
We're excited to have you.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm a flower guy, so you'll see me in there once in a while.
Oh, good.
Then I expect them once a week.
You walked into that one, didn't you?
Pinks
Okay.
are my favorite color.
Pink?
Yeah,
Right.
no yellow.
Yeah, what's your favorite color?
Surprise me.
In the motion, do they need to add the portion for the sign having?
No.
Okay.
No, because she's got a sign that is okay by
Right.
ordinance.
Just has to
It'll be okay.
It is okay. Fine.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask.
And we said, being she's on private property, the sidewalk.
Okay,
right?
Right.
Okay. All right, so if there's nothing else, we're looking for another motion.
Motion to approve site plan?
the address and.
For the address. All right, motion to approve the site plan for 22944 Main Street, Ambulance Designs.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Welcome to town.
Thank you.
Don't go away, we have some
Yeah,
things to
papers to
sign.
sign.
Okay.
Get to sign your life away.
That's one copy.
Got extra pen over there. This one.
Fine, have you signed
Oh, sorry.
So you're gonna sign there on 3 different copies.
it? Fortunately, I have one.
And this one's yours.
Okay.
Now, I guess I should have said, any new business that comes into town, I have to let the fire marshal know, and
Okay.
he's going to have to go through it.
Sure.
Okay, so, and he will let me know if there's anything that doesn't comply, and then tell me when you do comply.
Okay.
So,
Do you,
I will, is this a cell number for you?
it is, yes.
Okay, I will let him know tomorrow that we approved site plan and where you're going, and I'll give him your contact information, and he'll contact you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, right now we're doing a little bit of renovation in there.
On the inside?
Yeah.
Are you there most days during the day? It's
So-
hard to say. That, I'll have him call you.
Yeah.
I'll just have him call you.
Okay.
That would be the best thing. I'll ask him to call you.
Yeah, perfect.
All right?
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, from here we're into zoning ordinance review. So, and the minutes of the last meeting that I was not here at, thank you everybody for covering. We have discussion for changes to sections 22 and 23. Henderson Descend suggested changes to the planner, which we have done. And members to review, sections 18, 24, 25, and 26. Everybody have a chance to look over these?
Sure.
Okay, any questions, anything that are standing out at you that we need to go over?
You want to start?
Did you have anything?
Which one?
We're gonna start with 18.
Yeah, I had a lot for you too. This is from a while ago, but
We'll let you go ahead and start, Sam.
Well, there was, this was all sent out to people. I had a problem with, I thought it was confusing, because there wasn't a real differentiation in the terminology between site plan or sketch plan, and it was difficult to know what you were talking about what. So I wanted to separate that, and instead of like site plan review, proposed plan review for the header, so that you didn't call it a site plan, because none of them are going to be site plans, some are going to be others. So it's mostly that sort of thing, going in and sort of conforming the language to proposed rather than site plan. And like for the section 1801, at the end of the first line, it would be a consistent method of review of proposed plans. And then it says 3 levels plan reviews, and then it identifies them as administrative, sketch, and site plan, so that later we can refer back to those as separate entities, that sort of thing. In 1802, I would just rewrite it, because I never could make much sense out of that chart.
You're right.
And so I had, I don't know if you guys want me to read all this.
Sure.
Section D instead of the chart. I take the chart out, and then D would be notes on types of plan reviews. A would be administrative review. This is for use with certain smaller scale projects, such as changes to ongoing efforts, changes necessary for safety reasons, or when there is a change of use in occupied building to the same use, pizzeria to a pizzeria.
Can I stop you for a minute?
Sure.
Did anybody keep any of this stuff that we had from like 3 months ago?
I think I just went through and cleared all my stuff, I think I left it at home.
I gotta honestly say that I think if they're not looking at it, there's not a whole lot of point, because I don't know that they're gonna follow what you're saying.
All right. So what do you suggest?
I suggest I copy this for everybody and give it to them tonight, and we do this section next week, or next month,
Okay.
because she's got it laid out very well in the copies that I gave you, and her reasons, and I think a lot of it's gonna just get blurred if she just keeps talking.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, she shows why she wants to number something a certain way, and you're not gonna follow that if you can't follow it. I don't think. You guys are fine, we're fine to go, but.
No, I agree with that.
And I also, could you include the forms, because I redid the
Yep.
form,
I have those folders here.
so that they ask for the items that are in the ordinance, and don't ask for items we don't need. And they're clear, they're consistent. I talked to Becky about it previously, and she likes them. It's got the information she needs to do what she does, so it would make everything much less confusing.
So I'll just make copies of all this before you guys go home, and then we'll just do 18 next time.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll have stuff back from the planner on the other ones anyways. I wasn't here Friday or today, so I don't know if he answers me on that. So that would be my suggestion. I think it's gonna get muddled. I'd rather you guys look and understand what she's saying. So if you have to explain it to somebody, you can explain it to somebody.
Good idea.
This is what you're talking about, making copies of, right?
Yes. So I won't
Okay,
make
very
you,
good.
I won't make you one, I'll make
No, I
one for
already
everybody
got
else.
Well, then I guess we can do these site plans. We'll take a look at that and we'll go over it again next time. All right. Are we in order, are we going in order? What did I just read we were doing tonight?
24,
24, 25, and 26, and we'll move on to those. And we'll hold 18 to the next meeting. 24 is the ZBA one.
I don't know if I'm sure these things here.
Oh, I did, I talked to him before. I saw him at Romeo Fair.
Okay, so does everybody have those notes from 24, from where
You know what?
Ross went over that very meticulously, and.
So this is all Ross's writing?
most of it is, the scribbles are mine.
Okay.
I scribbled off what Ross wrote.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ross made a copy of the ordinance and then wrote in what they would like to do. And then I asked the planner about it, and his answers are on the back.
In my site plans.
Do what?
I've been looking for these notes for over a month, they were in my site plans.
Okay.
I do, we're talking about hiring somebody else.
So the first thing he wants to add, first he wants in the first sentence, in the first paragraph, as amended by the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act of 110 of 2006, that's, that's fine.
Okay.
That's the current, it says Public Act 207 of 1921 as amended, blah, blah, that's the current one. So that's fine.
Oh, okay.
The second paragraph, he wants to add, and it's actually taken right out of the zoning enabling act,
They'll probably go out.
word for word, except for the few that he crossed off.
These other guys tell me that the public.
It,
I told them 2 months ago.
it doesn't, it doesn't
Data, and the date comes up and it calls, and says, hey, I got.
contradict anything that it's supposed to do. I mean, it just defines more what the zoning board is doing.
They always, and I got a boss, this
Good description.
Right.
he knows that they're not available, they always say they're available, they're not available.
The next thing under 2402 was the membership. So as we were discussing, he wrote 3 because the zoning enabling act says that a village our size could be 3. Planner, again, says it's just a suggestion and does not recommend it. If you only have a board of 3, then you have 2 people making the decisions. So you have to have is 2. So the planner is strongly against going down to 3.
He's not advocating that you go down to 3. He thinks 5 is a good number. He thinks this would just eliminate any possibility of not finding a quorum.
No, it does not, because a quorum, if you go down to 3, then your quorum is 2.
If you have 5 people and you can't get 5, so now your ZBA is only 4 people, then if your document says not less than 3, then you're still in compliance with your document.
No, so that right there sets up the size of your board. How many people have to be present?
says
How
not-
many people have to be present to conduct the meeting is defined in the Open Meetings Act, which we have to abide by. So that's the size of your board, but the quorum is defined in the Open Meetings Act that says you have to have 1 more than half.
So we could say any size board, we say 100 if we wanted to, right?
We could.
Then the quorum thing would
Would be
explain how
51.
many
Right, correct,
of that
But the
100
quorum
It's
would
got
be.
to be a majority vote.
correct.
Then what would happen?
And that's why I crossed off a quorum of members, alternates must be present, because that's part of the Open Meetings Act that we have to abide by. So it doesn't need to be in there. And he and I discussed at length, the 3 and the 5, and he did say to me, he would prefer to have a board of 5.
Sure.
But he wrote in the 3 because that's what the zoning enabling act said. I told him I didn't suggest it, the planner doesn't suggest it.
Yeah, just because it's in there doesn't mean we.
Correct, it's a suggestion, it's nothing, it's not a part of the zoning enabling act that we have to abide by. It's to help out smaller communities that maybe
Right.
can't get enough, but,
We had a problem with getting 5?
we've usually had to sometimes rely on an alternate. But, again, it doesn't matter. So, let's say I have a board of 5, I say my board strength is 5, and I currently only have 3 members on the board and 2 are vacant, that's a quorum.
Right.
It's still a quorum.
Still a quorum, right?
It's still a quorum.
Okay.
It alleviates, it makes,
I took a couple pictures, I'll show them.
makes more people have to be in the decision-making process if your
Right.
board is 5.
Yeah, I just want to be clear that people understand he's not advocating for 3. He
No, I've
just-
said,
He
that's
just thinks that it would be, would give the village more leeway when there's a situation where you can't have, where you don't have 5. Then you don't have to go, you can still do business because it says not less than 3. Doesn't say,
No, you can't, no, this, and I asked the planner, this specifically is defining the size of your board.
not less than 3.
But
That tells me what I can't have, it doesn't tell me how many I am having.
But it tells you how few you can have.
Right, it
And-
does.
and that's
Doesn't
not
say I
suggested.
can't- Doesn't say I
The
can't have 5.
planner says that it's not suggested to go less than 5. It's not even recommended to make that a possibility.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think.
And so did Ross with me.
Yeah,
He specifically said, that
Right.
he wrote that because it's in the zoning enabling act that we could.
right, it's just a way to sort of protect the ZBA from being in non-compliant with the ordinance. That was his motivation, not that he advocates for it.
I think we're sticking with then the 5,
I would say 5.
Yeah.
yes.
And the part where he wrote about the quorum doesn't need to be in there because it's part of Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
Yeah, his next one, a member or an alternate can be from the planning commission, you know, that's fine, a member or an alternate. They all have to be, and the alternates have to be, registered to vote in the village.
Yeah, we were talking about that at that meeting. This meeting was so long ago.
2404.
2404, where he has, or in their absence, the acting chair, that is actually part of their bylaws, so it does not need to be there. Bylaws say the vice chair will act in the absence of, as chair, in the absence of the chair.
Okay.
We'll see. I'll be here for you, but I'm short.
I agree that I don't think 30 days is probably.
Well, and even the planner said, 60,
Yeah, he
and,
said
and Ross
60.
said, I'd love the planner to say we could have more. And the planner made some good points. You have weekends, you have holidays, you have vacations, you have something. 30 days is really, really limiting you.
So, I mean, I think he wants to put an end on it so that they just don't drag on forever.
And I agree with that. So, planner said, limit somewhere in the range of 60 to 90 days. So pick a number.
The
put a-
60,
Split the difference?
yeah, 60 would seem like it would be plenty.
Right, I would think so.
Yeah, I think 60 sounds good.
Okay. 2406 is the next place he wrote something, and he, his interpretation of this, he interpreted it different than I did, so I asked the planner for clarification. So that actually means, so you don't want to change it, because that actually means they have 21 days from the day of their denial to file the appeal with the ZBA. That has not, he thought it was the same as the 30 days that he was talking about in the previous part.
Gotcha.
So
And
this
it's
is
not.
staying to 21.
So it's gonna stay at 20.
It should stay at 21. They have 21 days to file their appeal. Once the building inspector denies their plans, the planning commission denies their whatever.
Right.
2409.
Yeah, that's, I get that, yes, it makes sense for an illegal sign that the code enforcer, the building inspector would probably be the ones that would say, hey, you need to determine if that sign's
Right.
illegal or not, requires removal. That makes sense.
Okay. That's
Okay,
it.
so that appears to be all of it from Ross's notes, anything else on the board?
Well, then there's that 2414,
This one?
just adding, right? That's all new, isn't it?
Oh, he did add a section.
Where's 2414?
Oh, see, he and I didn't
Oh, I
discuss
see.
this.
Right, the limitations of
Limitations of
authority.
authority.
He said he had a letter from the planner that recommended that this be put into the,
Oh, this was from the transitional overlay district, and I gotta say, I'm sorry, I did not read.
has to do with the use variance and what the.
Well, there is no, we don't allow a use variance,
Right.
so. I'll have to get that letter out, I cannot, yeah, check, this came from the transitional overlay email, or correspondence he sent.
So this did not go to our planner yet.
This actually came,
This came
this
from-
packet didn't come from the planner.
This added section did.
It did, but I don't know that it came from him to be a part of the zoning board of appeals. I have to read the context of his notes, I did not.
Okay.
But if he wrote 2414, I would say yes.
So we will,
Yeah, because there's a little line that said on the top, I just looked at the letter today, that this should be added to.
So,
I thought I remembered we discussed that in the meeting, the ZBA meeting.
I don't know, an email from-
yeah, no, he, when we went over the transitional overlay district, I do remember he was saying some things had to be added. I did not go back and review that to see that.
So I think then we send this one in for review. that
Well, when I
was
send the whole thing, he'll get that part too.
Right, that
Correct.
section as well.
Okay, so we're gonna include that.
Yeah, we'll include it. And I will just verify that that's where it came from. He'll recognize if it came from there or not.
Yeah, right there, I even put it in my notes, to see the proposed change made by McKenna.
So we're leaving the members at 5.
Yes.
We're removing the addition on 2404B because it's in the bylaws. And on C, we're changing it from 30 to 60 days.
Correct.
Yes.
And the other mentioned 2406 with the 30 days were 21.
Stays to 21.
Stay at 21.
Yeah.
Okay, so his actions on 2409, we're leaving that in.
Yep.
And then we're putting this in to see what the planner says.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so that puts us at 25, which is the definitions. And didn't we discuss removing that?
Not removing it, no.
Oh, not removing, moving.
No, well, I don't know how you do, let me put that one.
Yeah, that's true too.
Is there anything anybody thought of for while we were going over all the other sections that we thought it wasn't very clearly defined?
The only note I have is add reoccupancy.
That's on my notes too, was every occupancy.
Right.
I have a question on landmark trees, because this is set through before, like when Fritz developed the subdivision and cut down some of the trees that were over 100 years old, oaks, specifically right across from where I live. And the village never did do anything about it. You know, I mean, they planted another tree there. Do we have, my question is, do we have anybody that would enforce that, Becky? Or is that just a...
Well, truly, the planning commission should enforce it at any site plan if it's done during that. Other than that, and honestly, the code enforcer probably isn't going to realize what most people consider a landmark tree. So if it's done outside of that, then it really would fall on him, but it would have to really be brought to his attention, I think, for the most part.
Okay, so you're saying some people wouldn't understand what that is, do we have that in definition, so that when we say...
Well, it says the tree is any tree of stature standing alone in the open, or any tree that stands obviously apart from others within the immediate vicinity by size, form, or species.
Okay.
And then it talks about landmarks, of preserving historical, cultural, architectural, or archaeological heritage also.
The building.
Yeah.
I don't know who defines that. I can't answer that.
I got a question.
Yes.
So like under site condominium, you know, it's State of Michigan Condominium Act 59 of 1978. Does someone go through and check? I mean, how do we know it's not a more recent version of all this stuff?
The planner would know.
Okay, he's wanted to make sure that's all.
Usually he's told me ahead of time, hey, when you're going over this section, there's an amended one, so we'll have to change all that. So far, anything we've done that's had a change, he's told me, but it's really only been the planning act and the zoning act. My other notes say that we should add a zoning, the definition of zoning permit. We have it in the very front of the book, on page 1-3, but it should be added in the back here as well.
That's a good idea.
And truly, when I go through the rest of the sections, I should have done it all at once, but I might think of another one or two. Reoccupancy to me is a big one, and I don't know that we have a definition. He never gave us where we were trying to say if it was it's left vacant for X number of time.
Right.
We've never defined a time.
Right.
We do need to define a
Because
time.
we did go over that.
Right, so we
We
will
never
have
did
to,
give
that
us
might be
an
something we'll have to see what the generally accepted term is. I thought it was a year generally accepted, but I don't know that.
Wouldn't you have to have that defined so that if you lost any grandfathered,
Correct.
so that does need to be defined?
That's why we want it defined, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's longer than a year. I think it is.
I don't know, we'll see. Well, mainly so that, yeah, basically nobody gets grandfathered in. If you haven't done business for, because if we talked COVID was a special case, but, we don't want you 3 years later to sell the business to somebody that's really not an accepted use, but you're thinking it's falling off of your same approval and it doesn't. So,
So we want to check against that.
Anybody open, anything else on 25? Okay. 26, our final.
I have nothing.
I didn't, What?
I'm sorry.
Anything on 26?
No, I just had a question, it's not really pertinent to this, but it says on 2603B application, shall we initiate submission of a completed application form to the village? Do we have a form?
For changing an ordinance?
Yeah.
No. They would have to, I would assume it would fall under a current application, and it might just be an other, and it might say amendment.
Okay. That's the only thing I saw, it seemed pretty.
I'm assuming that he'll change 2602, because it says the previous zoning ordinance adopted by blah, blah, blah on 14th day of January 1985.
Right.
I'm sure it'll refer now to this one. but,
Right.
I'll ask. Other than that, I had nothing.
So other than sending tonight's questions and suggestions into the planner, gone through pretty much everything. Nobody's got any other questions? Hopefully we can get something back from him for the next meeting.
Yes, I'm sure. It might even be in my email now where I can forward it, but I'm sure I can send him 24 and he'll answer me back that right away too.
Right, awesome. Next meeting we'll be going over this.
This 18, this
Yeah.
Right.
section 18, and anything that comes back from the plan.
So 18 is the one you want sent in?
No, 18
We
is
gotta
the
go-
one we're gonna go
we're
over
gonna go
next.
over
That-
18.
It's the only one we
On
haven't
the, right,
done.
on the next, but we want it sent.
I don't
You
want
say you
to
were
send
sending
it.
something to him to ask him?
Yeah, I'll send 24, ZBA,
Okay.
and I'll ask him about the definitions in 25 that we're gonna question.
All right.
But 18, I'm gonna copy this for everybody so they can follow
Yeah,
along.
right, the
next.
notes that I have. All
You
right.
know, read through what Sam's written and make sure you understand it, or if you have any questions. Anything else you'd like to see on the application, make notes on that. Not a one-person show, so.
All right. So if there's nothing else on ordinance for you tonight? Everybody look for that email from Becky. Go over that, so we can be prepared when we come in next time. I have nothing for reports this time. Anybody got any further discussion?
I have a question for Becky. Did the planner ever look at that Fritz?
He did, but we're gonna have to talk to Dave Conan and you,
Okay,
so,
okay. I was just wondering.
yeah, he did. And just so, you know, everybody knows we got a bond payment for the DDA, that's all. And it's right, so we'll be making that.
Anybody else got anything?
I don't,
Okay, I'll make a motion that we adjourn. The time being 7:42.
Second.
All those in favor?
Thank you, Sam.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I.
Adjourned.
All right, you guys wait on me.